Hey guys, this is Ozzy from Wanderlust Syndrome, where I provide unique views, advice, and stories for you, the passionate traveler. What if you were given $10 million US, but can only spend it if you're moving permanently to a country with the first letter of your name? I found this question on Drew Binsky's Instagram page and found it to be an interesting question. You who might know, my first letter in my name starts with an A. I'll rate each country that starts with the letter A from 1 to 10 on 3 factors: livability, lifestyle, and likeability. There are 15 countries that starts with the letter A as the first letter, but I'll only do 7 in this video. The next video will have the next 8 countries. Comment down below if you agree or disagree with these ratings. Also, what country would you live permanently with the first letter in your name if you receive this money? Afghanistan, a landlocked country that sits in the heart of Asia. It's a country that many empires have tried to conquer, but many failed. I have been to this country as a service member during the Afghanistan war. Livability, 2 out of 10. Lifestyle, 4 out of 10. Likeability, 4 out of 10. Afghanistan is a war-torn country. Technically, the country is still at war. The issue with that is, with war-torn countries, you're going to have a lot of poor people in there. Because of this, floating around $10 million US is going to attract unwanted attention, good or bad. Now, some people are going to come to you because you have that kind of money and they think you can give them some money to help them. Afghanistan is a very dangerous country, and I can tell you firsthand, going out there, it still is. People who go out there as tourists, they have to do a lot of hoops to get out there. It is not an easy country to go to. So trying to move out there would be very challenging. On top of that, the government is constantly changing. I mean, you have different governments taking over. It's a power vacuum right now. It's kind of stabilizing, but the vacuum is still there. I don't know which government would be there at the time that I would go move out there. And like I said, my safety would be a high priority because of how dangerous the country is. Now with $10 million, I could hire a private army, but that's not the way I want to live out there with that kind of money if I'm trying to move somewhere. I want to be somewhere safe and protected. I don't want to go there knowing that I have to look behind my back and know that someone's trying to kill me or try to take me hostage just to getting something from that. A lot of the people are very friendly. They want the country to be stable. They want people to be able to do stuff so they can open the doors to the rest of the world. And they just want to live in peace. They want the wars to end. They want Afghanistan to be stable. They want to open the doors for people around the world because just like anybody else, they are very curious. Albania, a Balkan country with unspoiled beaches, mountains, traditional cuisine, history, and affordability. This Muslim country is a hidden jewel in Europe. Livability, 8 out of 10. Lifestyle, 9 out of 10. Likability, 9 out of 10. Albania is a country that more tourists are going to. It might not be like it now with the stuff that's happening, but this country is growing in popularity, and for good reason. I mean, the country sits next to the Mediterranean, so you have pristine beachfront property, pristine beachfront areas that are attracting a lot of people. On top of that, look where it sits. It's a small country that borders Greece, that you can fly towards Italy. It is a beautiful country that allows you to go see other places that's surrounding it. I think that's a very big advantage of Albania. The country is growing in popularity because it's a safe place to go. The people there are very friendly. You got a lot of history. The food, from what I've heard, is tremendous. Albania offers a lot for a person with $10 million US, and I think you can go very far in that country. It's very affordable. It's one of the most affordable places in Europe. That's very hard to say in a European country where everything just seems like it's expensive. But Albania is one of the most affordable places that tourists can go. So if I was to move there, my money would last a long time because of how much things are low. Now the issue would be trying to learn the Albanian language. But with that kind of money, I can hire a translator to help me navigate through everyday life until I pick up enough of the language to where I can communicate basic stuff. That's the only knock for me, is just trying to learn the Albanian language. It wouldn't surprise me if the country is trying to teach more English, because the country is getting more English-speaking tourists. So that country has a lot to see and do. I'm sure the nightlife out there is magnificent. This country has so much to offer and it's getting very popular. So I can see myself moving out there with that kind of money and enjoying life. Algeria, a North African country that has the Sahara Desert covering 90%. It also has 7 World Heritage Sites. Livability, 6 out of 10. Lifestyle, 7 out of 10. Likeability, 4.5 out of 10. For some of you guys, this might be a shock seeing the low likability score. The main reason is Algeria is, right now, it's a poor country. It just came out of a civil war. The country is still recovering. In my eyes, carrying that kind of money in a country such as Algeria will bring unwanted attention, just like if you were to go to Afghanistan. You would have to deal with this attention because people want money, or people will, you can get kidnapped and be held hostage depending on the country. From what I've heard, there are some terrorist groups within Algeria. The issue I have with trying to get out there is trying to move out there. It would be very hard to try to move out to Algeria permanently. I look at it from seeing people who have toured there, how difficult it was to get a visa. It is a challenge to get a visa to Algeria, and I can see why, especially as an American citizen. It's a war-torn country, and the U.S. government just does not want its citizens to travel out there. So trying to move out there would be nearly impossible to get off and do. I would have to learn the Arabic language, which is one of the hardest languages to learn, even though a big swath of North African and Middle Eastern countries speak it. Now, the reason I gave a high lifestyle and livability score is because, one, the country sits on the Mediterranean. Like I said, people love beaches. I love beaches. I think I could get an affordable place near the beach to live out there, especially with the Mediterranean sitting right out there, and it would be amazing. You have 2 successful North African countries of Tunisia and Morocco. They are right next door, and those places are worth seeing, in my opinion. I've never been to either places. I plan to visit those 2 countries one of these days. But those places are right next door, and those are very stable countries. The history there is magnificent. So you have everything from Greek, Roman, and Ottoman all into one country. As I said before, there are 7 World Heritage Sites. These sites have survived all kinds of war, which is amazing that they have been preserved for this long. It tells how much Algeria values its history. If you're a history buff like I am, who are into this stuff, going to Algeria and seeing all this history lay out in front of you would be an amazing feature to check out. And that's why I gave the high livability and lifestyle score, because I would love to experience and see the history of Algeria. You get to see both the beach life and the desert life. You know, the northern country, especially near the Mediterranean, is more beach life, while the southern part is more desert. So it'd be interesting to experience both worlds, which I think would be phenomenal to experience. American Samoa, a U.S. territory with a capital called Pago Pago. This small country is part of Polynesia, which 90% of the inhabitants are Samoan. Livability, 9.5 out of 10. Lifestyle, 8 out of 10. Likeability, 10 out of 10. For those of you who don't know, because the word American is part of the name of the country, American Samoa is part of the U.S. It is a U.S. territory. Because of that, it would be easy for me to move out there permanently. English is the official language. I would have no challenge, no difficulties be able to communicate my wants and needs to the people out there. I don't need a visa or passport because it's a U.S. territory. I'm an American, so I can fly out to American Samoa anytime I want without those documents. What the wonderful thing about it being a U.S. territory is I can always fly back to the U.S., to the mainland U.S. with no issues at all. So it's almost like going to a different state within the U.S., which is a awesome feature to have. It is secluded, even though it's right next door to Samoa, another country which I could visit. But it's because of that seclusion that kind of turns me off just a slight bit. What makes up for the isolation is the fact that it's an island country. Because it's an island country, it has unspoiled beaches, it has natural beauty. On top of that, the people there are very friendly. So it uses US dollars, so I don't need to calculate how much my money will be valued, because it will be the same as the US. So it would be so easy for me to move out to that country permanently and enjoy life. The issue is it's a secluded, isolated country that eventually, do I want to stay there for long? More likely yes, but you would see everything you need to see, and eventually it would get kind of boring. But I would get over that because the people there are friendly, and like I said, I'll admit I can't get tired of seeing the beach and getting the ocean air. Andorra, a small mountain country in Western Europe. This country sits between France and Spain in the Pyrenees Mountains. Livability, 7 out of 10. Lifestyle, 5 out of 10. Likeability, 6 out of 10. Andorra is a very tiny country. It has only a few ways to get into the country. One of the issues I found is it depends on tourism so much. So you have to deal with tourism coming from Spain and France, and the traffic would be insane for me, that it'd be hard to want to move out there permanently. Because it's such a small country and it is part of the euro, it's going to be very expensive. $10 million US, if you convert it to the euro, would probably be down about 8 million euros. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that should be about give or take. A lot of euro countries pay high taxes. I would be burning money so quick, and it would be very difficult for me to want to stay there permanently, knowing that I'm burning through money just to live out there. So Andorra, for me, with the tourism and the high costs of living out there, would be very challenging for me to want to move there. Even though Spain and France are right next door and I could go there and visit those countries, which would be awesome. I love France, and I think it's a beautiful country. I love Spain. It's a beautiful country. They're both beautiful countries and worth going to. But overall, the tourism, the traffic, and the high cost of living are the reasons why I gave the score the way it is. Angola, a country in Central Africa. It's rich in natural beauty and resources. Even so, the country remains poor as a whole. Livability, 3 out of 10. Lifestyle, 7 out of 10. Likability, 5 out of 10. Angola is a very poor country. Their infrastructure is not going to be great. So you're going to have issues with roads, plumbing, so clean water. You're going to have a lot of those issues. On top of that, coming with $10 million US, and where the majority of the country is poor, is not a good taste. It would lead me to believe, especially with the capital, the way it's built up, it is so expensive, so built up, while the rest of the country is poor. That tells me that there's major corruption within the Angolan government. Because of that, carrying around that kind of cash, in my opinion, would make people believe you are part of the government, even though I would not want to be part of the Angolan government. Perception is everything for a lot of people, and just to have that kind of cash flowing around, people would assume that I'm part of the Angolan government because I could technically live in the capital, in the Angolan capital. Even so, just carrying that kind of cash would make me feel bad, seeing that the entire country is poor and the government has not done a lot to help its people rise and succeed to have a better life. The country speaks Portuguese, which right now I'm trying to learn Portuguese, but I know there's different flavors, just like Spanish and English. I'm trying to learn Brazilian Portuguese, but there's a slight variation of Angolan Portuguese. So I think I would pick up it over time. Like I said, I'm just learning, so I'm just picking up a few words, but I know I can communicate in Portuguese and saying what I want or need. I think the people there are very friendly out there from what I've seen from other travelers who've been out there. Overall, like I said, the infrastructure is not going to be great, and the people are still living in poverty, so that would be hard for me to digest to moving there permanently. Moving there would not be my #1 choice. Anguilla. Another country with an interesting capital name, the Valley. The country is a British overseas territory. It's a few miles from St. Martin. Livability, 10 out of 10. Lifestyle, 10 out of 10. Likeability, 8 out of 10. Now the only issue that I have with the country is I will have to learn how to drive on the left hand side, and I've already experienced that going to New Zealand. It would take some time to get used to. I tried to prepare for it mentally. If you've never driven on the left hand side, no matter what you do, you can prepare for it. You can watch videos of it. You can tell yourself the second you put your hand behind the wheel, you start driving, your mind will explode until you adapt it and adjust it. I just find the country very interesting, and it looks like a very fun country to go to. I imagine there are a lot of celebrations that happen because it's in a Caribbean country. So I think it would be very fun. I think my money would go far because they use the Caribbean dollar, if I stand correct. The reason my high rating, because I think the country is very beautiful. I think the people there are friendly, and I think it's a different lifestyle that I get to experience without having to worry about my safety. Hi, my name is Ozzy Alejandro, and you're on my channel, Wanderlust Syndrome. If you like this video, hit like, subscribe, and share this video, and come along with my journey as I explore the world and sharing unique views, advice, and stories.